Do you realize that Generation X starts to turn 60 next year?
Really?
Yep,
Does that mean that we're going to get to retire?
it does. And
Ooh.
as the light at the end of the tunnel gets closer and closer for Robbie and I, we've had some discussions about what that's going to mean for us. And one thing has become crystal clear: it's not just about the money. Let's dive into that. All you have to do is Google preparing for retirement, and you're going to get page after page of financial advice, what you need to do to make sure you have enough money, and telling you how much you should spend each month. That's not what we're going to talk about today. If you're one of those like us who thinks we're financially prepared, there's other things to think about.
One of the biggest things that comes to my mind when I think about retirement is where am I going to find my happiness and my fulfillment? Um, I have always worked full time until Rich and I got married, and my job has brought me a lot of satisfaction. It's where I do a lot of my interaction with others. It brings me a lot of happiness, a lot of joy. So, a big fear that I have in retirement is how am I going to fill that void? Rich and I have talked about things like that. And I think for us, we want to maybe be able to pick up some more hobbies, doing pickleball.
Yeah, pickleball would
Or,
be a good one, or maybe volunteering in the community in some form or another.
yeah,
Some way to stay connected.
with people.
Right. I mean,
Hmm.
so many of us get all our social interaction from work,
Yeah,
right? You go to work, you interact with people both professionally and personally.
yeah.
And when that goes away, you're going to have to figure out ways to fill that void.
Yeah, and one thing I think about, and I think you do too, we have grandchildren, and I get excited thinking about potentially being able to go and care for them in the middle of the week if their parents are on vacation, or things that I can't do right now because I have job requirements or restrictions. But the question with that is, I might be excited about that. We might be excited about that. But I wonder if our kids are going to want us
Right.
around.
Yeah, I think that's another thing for all of us to think about is the retirement. Yeah, it's mostly about you and your partner, but it's also going to affect the people around you,
Yeah.
right? Like we have friends now, and one of the things to worry about too is, do we have expectations of them that they're going to fill a bigger part of our life after we're retired? And is that fair to them, number one?
Yeah.
Are they retired? I mean, right now our friends are in our similar situation, right? Where they have jobs and they are available at night and sometimes on the weekends. But now suddenly when you're retired, you're available when you get up in the morning, right? And how is that going to work out? And do you need to find other people? The answer is probably yes. You need to find other people, unless you're so close to your friends that you're planning your retirement around each other.
Yeah. Not that close. We're not that
We're
close.
not that close.
No.
And then you talked about family. I think it's definitely worth a discussion with your kids if you're close enough to them. I mean,
Mhm.
geographically close enough to them. Like, what expectations change? Like, yeah, we want to spend as much time as we can with them and our grandkids, but we don't want to be in the way,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
we don't want them to think that they have to tailor their,
Lifestyle or their living to us,
around their suddenly retired parents,
available
right?
parents.
So it's definitely something to consider, and that the social interaction part of it, whether it's with friends
Yeah.
or with family, needs to be something you look into.
Another thing that Rich and I often talk about as well is we are very different. I'm a very busybody. I like to stay moving. Rich is more content and allows himself to not be as busy. So I worry about if I'm going to be able to just be still in the moment. But we're working on that.
So another thing about Gen X is we're really the first generation where mom and dad, Robbie and I, the man and the woman, both partners in the house, whatever you want to say, both of you worked. My parents, my mom was home most of the time. I believe Robbie's was the same way.
Yes.
But we're the first ones where both people have been out of the house uh, 8 hours a day most times and bringing in income. So because our generation has become so kind of focused on career, it it has become a big part of our identity in general. So another thing to look at as you're preparing for retirement is, are you ready to not be that person anymore? Right? Are you ready to not be a manager?
Yeah.
Are you ready to not be a part of a team?
Mm-hmm.
Those type of things. And yeah, I think the easy answer for everybody is yes, but it's really important, I think, that we look into ourselves and say how much of our identity is rooted in leading a team at work or in doing this certain job. So another part of our work being such a part of our identity is a lot of times we're proud of what we've done and what we're leaving behind at work. But you have to think about, are you ready to turn over the reins of maybe what you've built or helped to build to the next generation? And let's be honest, when we look around, many of us in our generation, we look at the next generation and we think they don't know how to work, right? So you have to be okay with letting that go. You have to be okay with saying, I did this, whatever this is, and now it's your turn. So have at.
Yeah. I think another thing too with our jobs and our career, in retiring from that, there's a lot of free time, right? So, are we okay with being around each other 24/7? I mean, that's something that I think you have to have honest conversations about and what our expectations are, and what it is potentially going to be like when I am with him all the time or he is with me all the time.
Well, fortunately, our situation, I mean, I'm clearly way older than her. So I'm going to retire a few years earlier than she does, probably. So I'll have some time to get used to it. But like Robbie said, I think for most couples, there needs to be a really serious conversation
Yeah.
about what is the expectation of each other's time now that you don't have a job to go to.
Right.
Right? Are there gonna be honeydew lists that you do for each other, and that has to be done because you know what? All of a sudden you don't have a job,
Yeah.
right? So you have to get those things done, and the expectations of retirement in the couple need to be pretty clear.
Yeah. I think another thing that we have to think about and talk about as well is the health aspect of retirement and going into retirement. Um, are we able to do some of those things that we want to do? Is our body capable of pickleball, of going out and golfing all the time? I know we've talked a lot about retiring when we're younger, because if we wait and we retire when we are 72, what can we do at that age versus if we retire when we are 60?
Right.
So,
There's a lot of stuff out there that says you should be doing the things that you think you're going to do in retirement. Get them started when you're not retired so that you don't have this expectation that is immediately not met.
yeah.
You know, for example, if you decide you say, "Oh, I'm going to pick up pickleball when I retire," and you go out on a Saturday while you're still working and do it and realize your knees can't take it, you want to know that while you're still working so you can develop an alternate plan, you know, so that that doesn't throw you into a tailspin when you don't even have work to go to anymore. On the same topic of your health, I think it's obvious, but we should all spend some time making sure we are in as good a shape as we can be before we retire.
Yeah.
You know, it's again, the easy thing to say is, I'm going to have all this time. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be able to work out, I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to run, or I'm going to do all this stuff. But why not do it now? You know, why not get prepared for it? See what you need to do. See what with the time that you have now, get yourself ready for it. So that again, there's not a surprise that just puts off your whole plan of retirement.
Yep. You have to have realistic expectations
For
of knowing.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess those are a couple of things that we've thought about. I know there's a ton of other things to think about, outside of money to kind of get a plan for before you actually pull the trigger and write that letter or have that retirement party, right? There's things that you need to think about. What we would like is for you guys to hit the comment section and tell us what you're thinking about, or if you're already retired, what happened to you after you retired that you weren't prepared for? That's
Give us some pointers.
right. And I think this is an opportunity for all of us to come together and say, hey, that one guy I saw on YouTube, he said this. I never thought of that before. Or in the comment section, just give us some ideas on other things we should be thinking about. I mean, honestly, we're probably a year or two away, but it's not too early to start thinking about it. I know that for sure.
We talk about it a lot.
We do talk about it a lot. It's that light is getting brighter at the end of the tunnel for sure. So anyway, thanks for watching this. I hope you guys take the time to subscribe to our channel. Hit the like button, and for sure, leave a comment so that we can learn from you, and maybe you'll learn from us. All right, everybody. Thanks again, and God bless.